Hey everyone, and welcome to day 3 of my Harry Potter countdown. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my Harry Potter books, a little background about each one, like how I read it and stuff. So yeah, let's get started. With book 1, but I actually never read this particular book. I've read the first book, but it was a different book. It was from my school library because I struggle a lot with reading the first few Harry Potters because I'd already seen the movies, I already knew what happened, and I can't read books if I don't know what happens. Well, at least at that time I couldn't. I was in 3rd or 4th grade. Yeah, 3rd or 4th grade. And they were just a little bit over my head reading-wise. And so that was probably my only problem getting started, was they were just a tad bit over my head. So I had trouble reading the first few. But this one I read all the way through in probably 4th grade. And I loved it. It's so different from the movie, but the movie coincides well with the books. I think that writers of the Harry Potter movie series really did a good job. Like my brother, he's never read the books, he's barely seen the movies, and he asks me questions all the time about different stuff. So I think if you read the books, a lot of stuff is explained. And J.K. Rowling does an amazing job of tying up every single end, and you read something in the first book and it finally clicks at the last book. It's like, how does she remember all that stuff? I would never remember that all. Anyways. The second book, I actually read this one right after I read the first one, again from my school library. And this one by far creeps me out the most, book and movie-wise, because I hate spiders and snakes. I hate them so much. So that's probably why this movie and book scare me the most. And it's like, it's not even that scary, but they just freak me out. And so, yeah, I can never, ugh. Number 3. This wasn't the first one that I read that was like my own. This one I don't really like. It's kind of boring. I don't know. It plays a lot of key points in the plot of all the books, but it's just sort of like a little filler fluff book, I think. It doesn't really do much, and it's just not my favorite. I don't know. I don't really like it. That's all I've got to say about that one. This one doesn't have a cover, but it's number 4. I don't really remember when I read this one. It was probably around the time when my brother moved out, and he said that he was going to pay me to read the books. Kind of ashamed, but he never did pay me, so I didn't technically read them for money. But this one I loved. I can remember I flew through this one. This is probably one of my favorites, because it's a lot different than the rest of them. You know, you get to see a lot of different witches and wizards. You know, a lot of new characters are introduced in this book. And you get to see kind of a different side of Harry. You know, he's not focused on, until the end of the book, Voldemort. And I think the focus shifts with this book, because, you know, Voldemort comes back and all that. So yeah, this is probably one of my favorites. And I'll tell you what my other favorite is when we get to it. Alright. This one I like the movie of, because you know, I love Umbridge. I love Umbridge, and I love Dumbledore's army. You get to see some little bit Harry Ginny action. Not so much, but, you know, that's kind of when their thing starts. I also like this one because, what was the other reason? I just kind of like how Harry gets to glimpse what his parents used to be a part of. You know, they used to be a part of this, and he's kind of continuing on that legacy, and that's kind of cool. And he also gets to interact with Sirius a little bit more. No, that wasn't one, never mind. I can definitely remember when this came out. Half-Blood Prince. This was, did I see Order of the Phoenix at midnight? I don't think I did. No, I saw Half-Blood Prince at midnight, I'm pretty sure. I will have seen 2 at midnight by the time it's over with. But this is another one of my favorites because of Slughorn. And this story actually has a funny story behind it. I did see this one at midnight because I was racing to finish this book. See, I took my time reading these books. I was racing to finish this book before midnight, and I was like reading it in the theaters, and then the movie comes on, and I'm at the part where, spoiler alert, if you haven't read this one, which if you're watching this you probably have, but where Snape kills Dumbledore, and Harry's rushing after him, the movie starts. No, I don't even think Dumbledore was dead yet. They were up in the astronomy tower. No. Dumbledore was dead. He had fallen out. Harry was racing after him. Because I didn't know that he chased after him. And he found out who the Half-Blood Prince was. That was a surprise to me. But I knew kind of what happened in the end. But yeah, I was so mad because I didn't get this book finished in time for the movie. But that was so much fun because that was actually the first midnight showing I'd ever gone to any movie of. That was in 2009. But that was so much fun because we had licorice wands and we were, you know, like they were shooting t-shirts out and it was a lot of fun to go to that. People there, like, I wish that every movie that I ever went to was like that because you see the most passionate people at those showings and I'm so, like, intense about it. And I saw this girl at the midnight showing who actually dressed up as Bellatrix, and she kind of gave me my love for Bellatrix Lestrange. Yeah. Okay, last but certainly not least, this is actually my other favorite. Deathly Hallows. I remember when this one came out as well. My brother read it in 24 hours. I read this immediately after Half-Blood Prince, so I have finished this one. I feel like I've read it twice. I'm not sure though. I love this one because, you know, they're like camping and they're all around and they're like, it's not in this school setting anymore, which is kind of why I like it. Also, there's so much that is in the first 6 books that comes tied at the end of this book, so that's kind of why I like this one. I did not see the first part at midnight because I had school the next morning, so I didn't go, but I will be going for this midnight showing. I kind of like this book a lot. What did I want to say about it? I'm trying to think. There was a funny story that I was thinking about when I was telling Lois about this. I can't remember, but yeah, this book is probably the freshest in my mind because it was the last one I read, and I like this book a lot. No, this book is pretty good, and like I said, I love how everything kind of comes together, and yeah. I read this book fairly quickly. I probably read it like in 2009 then. So yeah, this one's most recently one that I read a few years ago. So that is my Harry Potter books. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you guys think of each and every one of the books. Which ones are your favorites? Which ones completely creep you out? Am I alone with Chamber of Secrets, or am I like part of a club? So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.